Hello and welcome to the Aussie Football Passport, your one-stop pod for updates on your favourite Aussie men and women who are playing their club careers abroad. I'm your host, Alex, and this week we've got national team action to cover whilst a couple of Matildas return to their clubs after two great wins against Argentina in the last week. There are also some transfers to update you on with the men. There's also some movement on coaches overseas as well. So let's get straight into the headlines. All right. The big news over the weekend was Ange Postecoglou's sacking from Tottenham Hotspur in quite possibly the most Spursy move ever. They've got rid of a coach who got them their first trophy in 17 years. Can you believe it? And he's only the third manager in Tottenham's long history to win a European trophy. Unbelievable, really, if you ask me. But maybe I'm a bit biased as an Australian football fan. But it does leave the question, who'd be a coach, eh? Anyway, let's go over to the men's game and transfers. There's been plenty this week, so let's wrap it all up for you. So as we talked about last week, Joshua Nisbett, his Ross County went down to Livingston in the Scottish Premier League playoff, and there was a relegation clause in Josh's contract. So he has departed from Ross County and he is going to join Roda JC. They are in the Dutch second division, so it's maybe a bit of a sideways move, who knows, but definitely a little bit more of a technical league. He will be there for 2 years. Well, his contract is signed for 2 years, so it's a free transfer, meaning that Roda did not have to pay Ross County a cent for that transfer. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes. There are a couple of lads in the Dutch league, namely Cameron Perpignan and Marcus Yunus at the PSV youth team who plays in the Dutch second division. So interesting move for Josh there. We will keep tabs on him, of course, in the upcoming season. So all the best to Josh there. Now, one from the transfer rumour mill. Daniel Arzani at the moment is tossing up whether he departs Melbourne Victory and has another punt at career overseas. So there has been a bit of talk that he might move to Hearts, of course, where we do have two Australians in midfield in Cameron Devlin and Callum Neuenhoff. His contract currently expires at the end of the month with Melbourne Victory, so there is a possibility he could re-sign there. But the move to Hearts would be his second attempt at playing in Scotland. Of course, he moved from Melbourne City to Celtic 7 years ago. Wow, how time flies. There you go. Now, speaking of Scotland, we've got another Aussie going to Scotland. Can you believe it? Incredible. It's like they're all moving to Scotland. Anyway, Kasey Yengi, he's joined Aberdeen on a free transfer from Portsmouth. Of course, his Portsmouth contract ended at the end of this current season. It's a 3-year deal, and he will link up with fellow Aussie recruit Nicholas Milanovic. So that should be a good move for Kasey. He did struggle to get a bit of game time towards the end at Portsmouth there, and potentially another Aussie took his spot in Thomas Waddingham. So, of course, we'll keep you updated on how Kasey goes, and he will potentially play off against his brother, Teti Yengi, who got the promotion with Livingston and, of course, knocking out Joshua Nisbett's former side, Ross County. And one final transfer rumour here, it is Kasey Boss. He is apparently close to a move to the Bundesliga with FSV Mainz. So that will be very interesting to see if he gets that move. It would be a massive move. Great to see players going to top divisions in Europe. And Kasey has had a wonderful season for Melbourne Victory in the A-League. And that is the headlines for this week. We will move on to the weekly wrap shortly. All right, so weekly wrap time, and it is international season. The international window has been open and closed for the women and men over the past week that between podcasts. So for the women, let's have a quick look at the second game that the Matildas played. Of course, they did have the previous game against Argentina in Melbourne, the 2-0 victory. They followed it up with a second game against Argentina in Canberra, and they won 4-1. Incredible result from the girls. And we talked about Amy Sayer last week. Well, she got a brace in this game. Emily Van Egmond and Michelle Heyman got the other goals in that game. So great to see, particularly for Heyman, who scored at home in Canberra. So it sent the locals into, great celebrations there. It looks like Tom Samani has found another gem in Carly Johnson. However, unfortunately, she did go off with a leg injury after 34 minutes in that game. So bit of a sour note to end on her debut. Well, her debut 2 games, I guess, if you like. Her first 2 games for Matildas, I should say. Very good stuff to see there with Carly looking like a great option in that attacking third of the field. Also great to see Amy Sayer make a couple of strong appearances for the Matildas after that horrible ACL injury that kept her away from the national team for close to 2 years. So good stuff. And it does mean, I guess, that Joe Montemurro has a lot to work with in this upcoming another 2 upcoming Matildas games at the end of the month. They will play Slovenia and Panama over in Perth at HBF Park. So we will keep you up to date with that as well. So there'll be a squad announcement, no doubt, a week out from those games. But yes, we'll keep you posted here at the Aussie Football Passport. Anyway, so the Matildas, well, some of them had to return to club football in Scandinavia and the USA. So let's start in Scandinavia, particularly Sweden. Jada Wyman, she played the full game for her club side, AIK, and they had a 1-0 win over Rosengard. She kept a clean sheet in that one, of course, being 1-0, and that takes her total to 5 clean sheets for the season. So well done to Jada. I think she should really be knocking on the door for Matilda's selection, actually get minutes, not just be in the squad. But let's see what Joe Montemurro thinks at the end of the month. Now, sticking in Sweden, Remy Simonsen, she got 31 minutes for Kristianstad in a 3-0 win over Allingas FC United. So good to see Remy follow up the Matildas squad with some minutes for a club side. Winona Heatley, she returned to Denmark and played the full game in FC Nordstrand's 1-0 loss to Koga there. So unfortunate return to club football for Winona. Now let's head across to the US&A. Caitlin Torpey, she got 77 minutes for Portland Thorns in their 1-0 loss to Bay FC. Of course, Mackenzie Arnold still out with that foot injury there. Alana Kennedy, she played a full game for Angel City in their 2-2 draw with the Chicago Stars, also in the NSWL. Now, speaking of that very league, Courtney Vine made her first start of the season for her side, North Carolina Courage. Unfortunately, however, they went down to Washington Spirit 3-1. But Courtney got 72 minutes in that match. So really good to see her back in action. She has been out for a little while after that move across to the USA. So really good to see. Now, let's head over to the men. So no club football at the moment for the fellas because they are on international duty. So that means we will switch our focus to the national sides and how they've performed because there are a couple in action, believe it or not, over this past week. So, of course, we had the under-18 men's playing in the UEFA Friendship Cup, football friends, some would call them. The boys, unfortunately, went down 4-3 to Argentina on penalties in the first game there. The second game, they went down to France 3-0. Heavy loss there. And in the third and final match, a little bit more exciting, the lads came from 2 goals down, I should say, to equalise with the USA before having their hearts broken with a stoppage time winner from the US&A. So a little bit unfortunate there. The lads were reduced to 10 men during the game, but showed some incredible fight to equalise there. The goal scorers, if you were wondering, were Medin Metni Oh, I've got that pronunciation probably horrendously wrong, of course, from Melbourne City in the A-Leagues, and Rylan Brownlee as well. So that is a wrap on the Friendship Cup for the under-18s. The under-20s, they, of course, are over in Argentina, and they fell to a 2-1 loss to them over there. Some are saying it is revenge for the Matildas sweep against the Argentines in the women's game, but we will let you decide. The goal scorer in that game was Marcus Eunice, of course, of PSV fame there. The next game will be played at 4 a.m. on Tuesday, so probably just a little bit before this podcast is released to your ears. We will give you an update on that game in the next episode. Now, the under-23 men, of course, they're playing 2 games against South Korea over in South Korea, and the first game of which ended in a 0-0 draw. So, yeah, I guess, kept a clean sheet if you're going to be positive, didn't score any goals if you're going to be negative. Anywho, the second game will be played on Tuesday, and again, we will update you in next week's episode. All right. Now, saving the best to last, of course, the senior men's side, the Socceroos. Well, we all know, surely, unless you've been living under a rock, they got a 1-0 win against Japan and putting the boys on the cusp of World Cup qualification for next year's World Cup being hosted by USA, Mexico, and Canada. They have Aziz Bayic to thank for that with a 90th minute winner in that one. Incredible stuff. So, the lads, of course, they go to Saudi Arabia, playing on Wednesday morning local Australian time. They have to avoid a 4-goal or more defeat to ensure that World Cup qualification. So cross everything, get up, put your alarms on, brew your coffees, all that kind of stuff, and cheer home the boys who are almost there for a 6th consecutive World Cup. Can you believe it? 6. Yeah, incredible stuff from the Socceroos. All right, well, that is it for the weekly wrap. Next, we will get into our players of the week. All right, players of the week time. And if you listen to last week's episode, we did talk about a feel-good story around Amy Sayer making her first return, her return for her first game in the Matildas for a wee while. Well, she continued that, went one step further in that second Matildas game. Not only did she start, she scored a brace in that 4-1 win over Argentina in Canberra. Incredible stuff from Amy. It is really, really great to see her back in the squad and playing well. It was her first double for the Matildas as well. So incredible stuff. Really great to see that there looks like there's some emerging depth in those forward positions instead of us having to rely on the great Sam Kerr all the time. So well done to Amy. Long may that continue. She did sit out her club side Kristianstad's game, I guess, probably just a bit of management, with the long flights and, her return from injury as well from her club side. So good to see, and keep up the good form, Amy. All right. In terms of the men's player of the week, I think you can all pretty much guess who it's going to be, right? If not, I'll still explain it. Aziz Bayic, of course, the goal scoring left back, the match winner, the GOAT, all of the things, the bloke that could potentially write himself into folklore with that goal. On his weaker foot, the right foot, stretching back to get his foot around it. Just incredible stuff. The scenes from Perth, when that ball went in the back of net, absolutely brilliant. It's what football does. I can't stress it enough. Get out there and support it and do all that kind of stuff. Now, I've got a little fun one on that Aziz Bayic goal, a little bit of a stats, because I know a few of you out there would love a stat. He did hold he does hold, I should say, the stat for the longest amount of time between goals for the Australian national team, which stands at 12 years and 178 days between his last goal and the one he scored in Perth against Japan. Absolutely incredible from Aziz, of course, not known for his goal scoring prowess, but we have seen that move a little bit before. Just cast your minds back to the 2022 World Cup against Argentina, where he had that incredible shot that was saved by Emi Martinez in that game. All right, folks. Well, that is it for another week of the Aussie Football Passport. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Please like, subscribe, follow, and rate the show on whatever platform you're listening to this on. We can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Amazon. Make sure you also follow us on social media so you can stay up to date with the latest that is happening with the podcast. We're on X, Facebook, and Instagram. So as the internationals wrap up, and I guess the domestic seasons are fairly limited in both the men's and women's game because there's not much. There's not much league, not many league seasons in Europe that are continuing. We will look to bring you some different types of shows and content in the coming weeks. So make sure you stay tuned to that, and follow us on social media so you can keep up to date with that as well. All right. Well, thank you very much for listening. I'll catch you in the next episode, and it is a goodbye for now.